2, 3, 4.
This dance is so physical, and to remain consistent and relevant for a very long time, you have to be athletic. So, and as a dancer growing up, you're only getting older. You don't get any younger. So you have to find a way to keep your body in shape. And I've learned the hard way. Going through periods of my career where I wasn't training as much as I needed to, or eating right and things like that. So, these past 2 years have been really strong for us in getting back in shape and building that fire up we had as kids. So we've developed a lot of like b-boy conditioning, with my center, with Break Free and everything that we've been doing. So we're really focused on being as athletic as we can be. Being an artist is just something that we are. It's not something that we look to be. I think a lot of the guys, in my group are very talented, and we love doing competitions, but we're not going to change the way who we are. That's one thing that you notice about Havikoro since the very beginning, and that's what's made us so unique. We haven't won all the competitions in the world, but we'll be there and we'll represent to the fullest, and people will always remember us. Why? Because we go out there and do what Havikoro does best. It's just be us. We're not focused on what everybody else is doing. We're focused on what we can do. And we grew up on a freestyle mentality. We just dance to the music, just be free and vibe out and have a good time. At the end of the day, I know every single member of my group. If you catch any of them in a cipher, you better be ready to cipher all night long, because everyone is built for that in my group. We can do competitions all day, but at the end of the day, that's not our forte. That's not what we train for. What we train for is just to train. It's just to feel good. It's just to look good when we dance. And I think that's what separates our athleticness and our artisticness, because the artist is in us. That's just something that we love. It's the passion that comes out when we dance. But the athletic part is the challenge that we have to do as individuals. We have to challenge our bodies. We have to challenge our mindsets. We have to challenge ourselves individually, because we want to keep getting better. And as dance, you have to remain a student. And the word student is to always have room for growth in everything you do. The moment you feel that like you're the best in the world is the moment you decline growth in your skill. So it's very important that you find a mentality where you can train like an athlete, so you can last a very, very long time, but you can always remain an artist because you're passionate about what you art, and you will never lose your integrity over a competition, over a performance, over a job, whatever it is, because that's what sets you apart. You know what? I can elaborate on that a little bit more. Like, as for a competition, I understand. We're in a new generation. It's 2013 going into 2014. Yo, you have to be on some crazy stuff right now. But you also can't lose the traditional and the roots of the dance. So it's like, you could be breaking 2013, but you better have some 1975 or some 1985 in you. Because that's the root of it. Like, that's the traditions. If you're not breaking with foundation, then to me personally, you're not breaking. So it's important to stay relevant with today's game, but also be relevant with yesterday's game. But if you're just breaking in one of those eras, then that's exactly what you're doing. You're stuck in that era. So a lot of times in competitions, when the judge says, well, you know what, you were clean, you were sharp, but you weren't as powerful because this guy did this crazy air chair spin to air flare, backflip, full twist, I don't know, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like I said earlier, it's like, yo, I love who I am. I love what I do. I will never change who I am for you. If you judge against me, you judge against me. That's fine. It doesn't make them any better than me. It doesn't make me any better than them. In a competition, anybody can win. And, like I said, I understand it's 2013. There's a lot of different crazy moves happening. There's b-boys getting better and better every single day. And I think that's awesome. I think this is so dope. But at the end of the day, remember where it comes from. Remember where it comes from. Because without that foundation, you won't be able to do those crazy moves today. Because that comes from somewhere. there's a root to all that. So, you know, find a balance. You know, at the end of the day, judges are going to say whatever they want to say, no matter how dope you are. Just find a way to, you know, do everything. You know, and that's one thing that I had to learn for myself, that I had to kind of backtrack and start doing, you know, more powerful things, or, you know, along with, you know, my b-boy traditions, I had to incorporate everything, because I'm still a competitor. Like, I may be getting older, but I love this dance so much, and I love to be challenged. So I'm going to find everything I can to just compete with all the young guys today. So, you know, I respect both sides, but each side should respect each other too, and understand where the root is, learn the root, and understand where 2013 is, and respect 2013. So respect all, you know, all generations, and you know, have a humble mentality. That way you can continue to grow, you know. Yeah, I'll give you a brief history about it. You know, growing up as a kid, like, there wasn't a lot of opportunities, like, for me or my crew or the people that I grew up with. You know, I come from a pretty rough neighborhood at the time, with a lot of, like, drug activity, a lot of gang activity. So I come from, like, the hood, you know. And when I started dancing, it was an escape for me. You know, it was like I didn't have nothing else. So when I dance, it's like that's all I wanted to do, because it made me feel good. It took me away from a lot of negativity. It made me feel really positive. So I was breaking free. That's where that comes from. That's where break free comes from. I know the term break and break free can mean a lot of things, because we're b-boys, or, you know, and there's b-girls involved, but it comes from just an escape. Me creating an escape. It's just like, I didn't have a practice spot. I had to make one. You know, I had to move things in my house to practice, with my mom or my dad, you know, yelling at me, because, you know, they didn't know what I was doing, but they didn't understand at the time that this dance was what was making me feel good, you know, and they didn't know that. So that's where break free comes from. Now obviously I opened up a community center in 2011, and we're doing so much for the community. It's been very hard to get, you know, a lot of support. A lot of the support financially comes from either myself or just people helping out in the community to try to raise money, you know, for the center, and people that I have, you know, that are, like, volunteering their time at the center. You know, Jeremy is a big part of that. Jeremy from my crew, he's there 24 hours, 7 days a week. I mean, if he has to be, you know what I mean? And so, like, you know, we're just doing so much with it. We also have the event that me and my other partner do. And we do Break Free once a year. And, you know, with Break Free, it's just to provide a positive, safe, structured atmosphere for our community, for people that are looking for that. For something that was missing in my childhood as a b-boy or as a kid growing up, something that was missing, I'm here to give it to them. If they don't want it, then they don't want it. But it's there. And I'm going to do my best to fight for it, and for it to stay open for a very long time. In the future, I'd like to do one in other cities. I'd love to do one here. I'd love to do, you know, everywhere. But, you know, that's not up to me. That's up to how much support we get from the community. Because if it was up to me, I'd put one everywhere right off the bat. Because I think it's very important, and I think it's needed in our culture and in our community today. You know, and then there's a lot of people, you know, in the community that say they're giving back, and then they're talking a lot, but you don't see them doing nothing. You know, and that happens a lot. And, you know, that's a sad thing, because there's a lot of role models nowadays. Everybody becomes a role model. If you're traveling around the world, competing in the best events around the world, the biggest events in the world, I mean, you're automatically a role model. People look up to you because people want to be at your level. So if you're not being a representative and a leader for the community the way you're supposed to be for these kids that are looking up to us, then it's a sad thing, because, you know, we have to be those leaders. No one else is going to do it. We have to do it. And the more we just sit and talk and talk and talk and complain about this, and we become the problem. We make those problems bigger than what they are. So it's very, very important that, You know, if you do have a problem with an event, you do have a problem with an organizer, you do have a problem with a b-boy, yo, if you're a b-boy and you have a problem with a b-boy, settle it on the floor, and that's it. Afterwards, go out to eat, right? If you have a problem with the organizer, yo, contact him directly, figure out what is it you can do to figure, you know, whatever that situation is, figure it out. If you don't like the jam, then don't go. If you don't like the judges, then don't go. If you don't like to be judged, don't enter a competition. You know, there's so many things that we complain about nowadays, but we don't realize that we have so many blessings right now. We have so many opportunities. You know, before there was no community centers, there was no dance studios that were offering breaking or b-boy or popping, you know, anything like, you know, that's related to our culture. We didn't have that, you know. And now, you know, you got b-boys teaching all over the world every single weekend, every week. I see people tweeting, Facebooking, Instagramming, I'm here. And I'm just like, man, hip-hop is so big. Hip-hop is so big. But if we just come to realize that we're all role models and we're all leaders, everything in this community would be a whole lot better. And just we'll be making and creating a bigger impact than what we are now.